Triple red means triple fire. These things are absolutely hot. When a triple red sneaker comes out, I think people pay attention to it. There's something about the color red and sneakers that just gets people going. Whether it's bread, a mix up of black and red to give you the bread sneakers, still red in there, or whether it's triple red or whatever, or just a red upper on the shoe, it just gets people fired up. If this sneaker, this Vapormax 2020 is really hot right now. There's a bunch going on at the Nike line to do with recycling sneakers, and that comes into the Vapormax 2020 in a very big way. And then when they bring something as hot as this out, triple red, and it truly is a triple red with just a smidgen of color in some other places as well, but basically a triple red sneaker. It's going to be hot and it's going to be fire, and I've got a feeling this could be one of those bigger Vapormax 2020s out there. There have been a few throughout the last couple of months, and some of them have flown and some of them have kind of crashed, but I think this one's going to be fine. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this shoe. So without further ado, I'm going to take you through the detailing on it and tell you everything to look for in the upcoming release of the Nike Vapormax 2020 Triple Red. This is the Tokyo Bada 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo Bada 23 Sneaker Channel des. Mainichi Upsun no den, mainichi mite kudasai. And every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, it's all about a Vapormax 2020. I'm going to go ahead and guess, pure random guess, out of the blue, just pulling this number out of thin air, 5. I think I've done 5 videos about Vapormax 2020s, and I would guess maybe 10 videos about Vapormax all in all, because there have been 2019s and other Vapormax, Flyknit 3s I think was another one, but the 2020s, I reckon I've done around about 5 videos, and there have been a few really nice ones. There was a platinum one, and a grey version, and a pink one as well, but this triple red just really caught my eye. I was like, man, triple red sneakers are always very, very cool, and I definitely want to talk about them at the channel. Speaking of the channel, we'll keep all that detail about the channel, what's going on, till later in the video, and we'll stick with the sneaker. I've decided to sort of do 2 things. One is to shorten the intros, and one is to stay close to the sneaker for as long as possible, and then save all the personal stuff to the end of the video. So with that being said, or without further ado, I wonder if I could mix that up. Without further said, with that being due, let's get into this and talk about the Nike Air Vapormax 2020 Triple Red that's just coming out around the corner on November the 12th. And the first thing is, it's actually not quite triple red. Sorry, it's very triple red, but I think there are 2 places. One is deliberate and one is accidental, where other colors bleed in, and we're talking about greens and we're talking about blues. And like I say, one is like a design decision on the part of Nike and on the part of the shoe, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the other one, I don't know if they have much control over this. And what I'm talking about is the recyclable elements of the shoe. And on the Vapormax 2020, it's hard to recycle as much of the shoe as they would hope. Nike is aiming for 80% recycled materials in their shoes, and that's difficult to do when you have a full-on front-to-back air unit. The length of the midsole, that has to be stable, and it has to be made of certain materials, and getting recycled stuff in there is pretty difficult to do. But what they do is they make up for that by making the Flyknit as recycled as possible. And then the second bit that I'm going to talk about right now, which is to do with the marbling effect that they have on the front of the shoe and on the heel counter on the back of the shoe, to support elements of the shoe. Rubber to support that Flyknit, so your foot isn't just shuggling around all over the place in there. And these are usually made from the Nike reclaimed rubber. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's the Nike Move to Zero, I think, is the name of the initiative to try and get this recycled stuff going on. And like I say, on a Vapormax 2020, that's hard to do, and these 2 places are 2 places they do it. And because of that, because they're sort of staying true to their recycle beliefs, that's why I think there are other colors coming in at the front and the back. So let's zoom in on the front end there, where you see that marbled effect on the rubber sort of toe roll that comes up, and they've tried their hardest to make that triple red moniker go, but there's just a hint of green that seeps into that there. And like I say, I think that's to do with the recycling element on the shoe. And then if we travel to the back of the shoe, a much more substantial rubber support element going on wrapped around the heel there, and again that triple red motif in full effect that they're trying to keep a hold of, but a little bit of color seeping in, and it's green. And I think those 2 places they don't have much control over. I don't think they made that as a design decision. I think it's just to do with the recycle element, the recycle technology that they use to make those parts of the shoe, and they just have to accept an extra bit of color on there. And then if we sort of, between those 2, between that front toe roll and that heel counter on the back, you've got the Flyknit, which is very cool for 2 particular reasons. One, it's a very triple red Flyknit. Basically, it looks like 3 three different reds to me, a light, a dark, and a very dark. And hopefully I've been able to zoom in on the Flyknit and give you an idea about just how red this is. It gets a tad close to violet or purple or blues in there, but it basically looks like a triple red. And the place that is most prominent and the place I like the most, I favour the most in that, is the way that they've woven the swoosh into the Flyknit in red as well. And you can still see the swoosh, it still stands out, but it's still embedded in the Flyknit, which is very cool how they balance those two things out. So a big yes on the Flyknit upper on these guys, keeping true to the triple red, even in that knitted in, that woven in swoosh on the side. And then we get up to what I call the lacing system. I think is it fly wire? I don't know, fly wire lacing system. I've heard that somewhere before, and I think I'm right in saying that the lacing system of Vapormax 2020 is fly wire, where basically within the shoe there are a bunch of wires. And what you've got is you've got a lock. I always get this wrong, but hopefully I've got it right. It's a lock on the heel where you pull the heel tight. So let's go around and have a look at the lock on the back there, and you can see that kind of rubber pull tab on the back that has the word lock sort of printed in it, kind of gouged out of it, etched in it, however you want to say that. And you pull that tight to lock the shoe onto your foot with those fly wire lacing system that I was talking about. And if we stay on the back for now, we'll get to the release in a minute on the laces. But first I want to stay on the back and go just a little bit lower. You can see Vapormax embedded in that rubber on the back there as well, to give an extra little bit of design on these guys. And I think I'm right in saying even up high on the pull tab itself, above the lock tab, you can see it's still that triple red with a red swoosh in there as well. So they're really going for that red motif on these guys. They're not holding back on the triple red at all, except in one place, and we're going to have a look at that right now, which is over to the front side of that fly wire lacing system. And they have kept the lacing system itself in red, and we'll stay with that for now, but we'll get to the colours that you can already see in a second. And what you've got in the front there is release, so you pull that tab and it sort of takes the tension out of the fly wire, and then you can slip your foot out of these shoes. And again, the lacing system all in red. Sometimes they play around with that and they change the colour of that sort of rectangular panel on the front, for example, to say light blue or something to go against the standard sort of full triple red in the case of this colorway, but any other colorway they might change the coloring on there. But they've stayed true to that triple red. They really have gone for it. They're not holding back at all when it comes to the triple red. But there's that one little bit at the top of the tongues there, and I don't know why they chose this. I really don't know what the thinking behind putting some blue up there was. It doesn't look bad, you know what I mean? It doesn't contrast with the shoe at all. It fits in nice, the triple red and the blue. They look really good together, but you've gone so hard to put triple red throughout the rest of the shoe. Why not finish it off with the top of the tongues here and just take the whole shoe into the world of red instead of having a little hit of blue up there. I wrote in my comments about this particular part of the branding that to me it looks like a collage of blue at the top of the tongues, and again, like I said, I don't know why they decided to do that, but their shoe, their choice. And then the last thing to do is to look at what I did say already. The hardest part to put recycled elements in is that midsole on the shoe, and then that leads us to the outsole, which you're surely looking at right here. Redesigned from the 2019 to have a slightly different tread pattern, but basically the same thing. Is you've got that midsole of a softer rubber air unit that runs front to back, and then there is an outsole on this, even though it is still translucent and looking through to that air unit, and especially you can see that on the heel and on the toe with a little bit more sort of, it's less transparent than the other parts of the midsole and the outsole, and you can see that in the front and the back of these guys. But they have kept that triple red feel going. They haven't given up on it. They stayed true to it for almost everything on this shoe, and that's why, like I said, I don't understand why they put that blue up at the top there, but that's their choice, their shoe. Okay, coming back out to have a look at the shoe. All in all, like I said, I think this is going to be a big one. I think people are going to go after this. I think Triple Red Vapormax is something that people will be interested in, and they've been up and down the 2020s throughout the year. Some just very strong. I think I'm right in saying they dropped for the first time in the middle of the summer in the lead up to what the Olympics would have been, but the Olympics have been pushed back a year. So it was round about May, June that we first started seeing 2020s, I think. That's when I first started seeing them, and I think that's when they first started surfacing. So it's been, four months or so, and so we've got this triple red coming along to sort of really right at the centre of that line, the centre of that run. So a great looking shoe, could be one of the big ones for the Vapormax line this year. Okay, time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content. Trying to keep the videos coming thick and fast. Managing to keep up with that daily content is not easy, but like I say, in most of my videos I haven't missed a single day for almost 2 years now, and I'll have to work out the date. I think it was December the 18th or the 9th. I think it was the 9th, December the 9th, when I started doing daily content in 2018. And here we are, this video will probably go up around about November, I want to say the 6th or the 7th, maybe the 6th. So we're about a month shy, a month and a couple of days shy of that, celebrating 2 years of non-stop daily content, which I think is worth something. So looking forward to that. But for now, time to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say what I say at the end of every single video, which is that I do this every single day, so you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.